I'd like to thank you for inviting me on the show. It's such an honour to be here, and I'd just like to say that when I'm not playing Xbox with my mate Thor, I really like to listen to my favourite podcast, Pop Culture Pasta. Hey Dave, I'm thinking about doing another revolution. Do you want to join up? I might need some help with organising the pamphlets though.
Pop Culture Pastor.
So Cody, something you didn't know about me is that actually I was up for the part in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, the role that Leo got. That's me. That's supposed to be my role.
So that would have been your breakout role.
It would have been, and I'm not the only one saying that this week.
You are not.
Someone else said it. One Corey Feldman.
Corey says a lot of things.
Corey does say a lot of things, but like I know people. Before we get into it, we should say this is Pop Culture Pastor. My name is Dave. Cody's here.
I am.
And before we get into that, we should really honestly talk about Corey Feldman in real terms, because the easy thing to do is to make fun of him, which a lot of people do. You have to understand, he was a respected child actor. He's talented.
He is.
He just got kind of weird, kind of strange. And frankly, if half of the things he says are true that happened to them, then it's no wonder.
Yes.
But you have to understand that was early enough. So when did that movie come out? What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Early 90s.
So that probably started development in the late 80s. I mean, Corey Feldman was still huge at that time. He says he was up for the role of What's Eating Gilbert Grape with Leo. He was on Billy Corgan's podcast, which is apparently called Magnificent Others. What's that about? Do you know anything about that?
I have watched clips from it. He does tend to interview other people that I would say are very talented. Mm-hmm. This is not the only time we will reference Billy Corgan in this podcast.
Wow. All right.
That's a spoiler.
There you go. Yeah, Billy Corgan seems all right. I didn't like a lot of their music. I wasn't a big Smashing Pumpkins person, but I did like a couple of their songs. So
he talks a lot about how he definitely wasn't the most talented out of the grungy people.
Okay. Humble.
That would be Kurt Cobain. He definitely brought something unique, though, to the grunge movement.
Yeah, he did. Side note, who's more talented, Kurt Cobain or Dave Grohl? Because they were both in Nirvana. Is that a thing that people argue about or no?
What I love is when people argue that Nirvana's guitarist and the Foo Fighters drummer is better than the opposite. That makes me laugh.
So Billy Corgan has this podcast that many more people listen to than this one. And he had Corey Feldman on, and Corey claimed that he nearly portrayed Arnie. This is according to the Entertainment Weekly, the disabled younger brother of Johnny Depp's protagonist in the 1993 drama. Corey said, quote, "I was actually cast to play Leonardo DiCaprio's role. I never saw the film because I'm still bitter."
Match in the gas tank. Boom, boom.
But yes, I was originally cast for that role. And Corgan said, "Did they push you out?" And Feldman said, "Johnny Depp." I mean, without missing a beat.
Oh, yeah.
He said, he outed Johnny Depp. He was cast after I was, and apparently whispered into the producer's ear that he wasn't fond of me and thought he said that I was a junkie and that he didn't work with junkies. And this is the first time I've ever telling this story, so I'm sure I'm going to get hung by this one. I didn't hear a lot of people talking about it.
I watched this clip.
Okay.
And he goes on and says, isn't that ironic that Johnny Depp's the one to say this as close friend of both of those gentlemen? River Phoenix dies in Johnny Depp's club.
So I watched that clip too. He had some pointed things to say.
He did.
And knowing Johnny Depp's history, it was hard not to believe that what he was saying had some truth to it. Now, we don't know if Johnny actually got him pushed out of that role or if they just went with the very supremely talented Leonardo DiCaprio, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think later on in the clip, he talks about how he was up for another role that Leo ended up getting.
That's not the only role. He mentions another role, Cody.
Yes.
You ready for this one? Corey Feldman also said he auditioned to play Samwise Gamgee in the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yep. Samwise, and that he didn't have the body type for it.
Yeah, I thought this was funny and also a bit insulting to his friend Sean Astin. He said, I was actually up for Sean's role, and I heard I got pretty close on that as well. Did you, Corey? Did you? Although I couldn't have gained the weight, so I'll give him that. He did a great job aesthetically being able to add that weight. Dude, is he fat shaming? Come on, Corey.
I hope not, especially with Goonies 2 coming about.
Yeah. So Corey Feldman, on one hand, everyone got a laugh out of this. And I remember, a lot of people weren't talking about it, but I did see it a lot on social media. It's kind of a thing to look at Corey Feldman and get the big eyes, but he was very talented, super talented. Maybe one of the best child actors of all time.
He's definitely in the discussion.
Yeah.
The movies that he did as a child are iconic, and you don't get too far in the child actor conversation before you get to Corey Feldman.
Yeah. The next thing we need to talk about, Cody, and this was just in the last couple days, and this was wild because, well, it was just wild. So apparently these ladies took a space flight, or more proper, they went just up out of the atmosphere and then came back down. Katy Perry, Gayle King, who looked like death. She looks like she might not take another plane ride for the rest of her life.
I didn't think Gayle looked bad. Gayle's been around for a while.
She looked at least like she was going to vomit.
Well, yeah, not everyone handles motion sickness well.
Jeff Bezos' girlfriend, Lauren Sanchez, they were all part of the crew. It was like this full outfit of women going to space.
Yes.
Similar to what Captain Kirk did, William Shatner.
Yes.
What was that, a couple years ago?
2 or 3, yeah.
And I believe it was with this outfit, Bezos' people. What's it called? Blue Origin?
Yeah, I can't remember if he went with Bezos or if he got SpaceX'd.
He went with Bezos because I remember the clip, Bezos couldn't shut up. When Shatner was trying to say something really wise, being the grizzled old man, and Bezos was popping champagne and being loud. You don't remember that clip? It was hilarious.
I did not watch it.
Shatner was really trying to be existential when he came back to Earth and they were interviewing him. And then Bezos is in the background cracking champagne and laughing and yucking it up. It was a hilarious clip.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Anyways, these celebrities going to space thing, William Shatner was great because he talked about real things. He talked about the way it made him feel about his own life.
Yes.
And you know that he's wise. What is he, 80 something?
90 something.
Yeah. So let's give our senior citizens their due. It was different when William Shatner came back because he's talking about his whole life experienced. Meanwhile, Katy Perry had a lot to say. Space is going to finally be glam. Let me tell you something. If I could take glam up with me, I would do that. That was before she went.
Has she not looked up at the night sky?
Yeah. What does glam mean? What does glam mean? Here's a quote here. Making space for future women and taking up space and belonging. Once again, that was from super rich Katy Perry. And I wanted to be like, Cody, is this just as cringy as when the celebs sang Imagine when we all were under house arrest and COVID? This has to be at least just as cringy.
It's in the neighborhood for sure. And the thing is, it's very tone deaf. Literally, women have gone to space before, Katy. There was a woman stuck in space.
They were stuck for over a year. And you went to space for 15 minutes. You paid $28 million to do it.
Oh, my Lanta.
They paid to do it, and you're acting like this was some big thing for women everywhere?
Rich women, I guess. You kind of diminish the accomplishments of women who work for NASA, worked for SpaceX, worked for Blue Origin.
Of which there are many.
And women who have gone into space and stayed in space for prolonged amounts of time. Women who have died trying to go to space. I mean, there are so many footnotes here that you act like you are the first woman to ever enter into outside of our atmosphere.
You rode a really expensive theme park ride, essentially. That is what it is. And listen, I'm not mad at Katy Perry. I'm not mad at her. But I do notice that for celebrities, it seems like they have a really hard time not letting their self-importance get out of control.
Yes.
And I get it. Everyone loves you. They want your autograph and they want their pictures taken with you. Yep, I am not going to say that I wouldn't struggle with that if I was famous. But oh my goodness, this was cringy, and we weren't the only ones that thought it. Cody,
I know of at least one fast food chain that didn't like it.
Wendy's, but Wendy's is really sarcastic and witty on the social media, anyways.
Can we send her back? That made me laugh.
And there was an alarming number of women who had thoughts on this. Olivia Munn was the kind of the first to chime in. She said, "What are they doing?" And this was back on April 3rd. This is before the trip. She said, "I know this probably isn't the cool thing to say, but there are so many other things that are so important in the world right now. I know this is probably obnoxious, but like, it's so much money to go to space, and there's a lot of people who can't afford eggs."
Yep.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong at all. She continues, "What's the point? Is it historic that you guys are going on a ride? I think it's a bit gluttonous."
Ooh.
Yeah, that was rough. Amy Schumer.
Oh, yeah.
She
comedian, actress, director, producer.
You see, it's crossing, gender lines. Mm-hmm. So you got women who are like thinking this is such a great deal for women, and you're getting like liberal conservative, because I think Olivia Munn is somewhat conservative, or is she? Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. She dated Aaron Rodgers. I just figured she had to be.
Maybe for a moment.
Amy Schumer on Instagram, on her Instagram said she had a last minute invite to join the aircraft. She was joking, I think. "Guys, last second they added me to space, and I'm going to space. I'm bringing this thing. It has no meaning to me, but it was in my bag." It was a Black Panther toy. "And I was on the subway, and I got the text, and they were like, 'Do you want to go to space?' So I'm going to space. Thank you to everyone who got me here. I'll see you guys in space." She was just being goofy. Emily Ratajkowski, you know her?
No, but I do know Olivia Wilde said $1 billion bought some good memes.
Yes, yeah. Emily Ratajkowski is a model, and she said she did a TikTok where she said that space mission this morning, that's in time stuff. She didn't say stuff. This is beyond parody. That you care about Mother Earth, and it's about Mother Earth, and you're going up in a spaceship that is built and paid for by a company that's single-handedly destroying the planet. Is Amazon destroying the planet? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
People will argue that for sure, although they hype up that they're trying to get to negative carbon emissions by some year.
Yeah, she went on to say, think about how many resources went into putting these women into space. For what? What was the marketing there? She concluded her rant by saying how disgusted she was by the whole thing. So she was a little bit more severe.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know. It seemed a little odd. And again, when you know that they spent all this money on it, that's the part that I can't believe. Like, $28 million is not a small amount of money, Cody.
No.
That is life-changing. I mean, a 28th of that is life-changing for a lot of people. And that's just wild. It's wild to think that they spent that much money on something. Like, I assume you or I might want to do that if we could. If they wanted to give me the ride for free, I probably wouldn't say no.
I would be down to clown, but even if it was $2,800, I'd be like, that's a little steep.
Yeah.
I've seen the night sky through a telescope. I've viewed it with my naked eyes. You know what? NASA takes some pretty good photos.
Yeah. Enough piling on, though.
Yes.
This didn't go well for the girls, and Katy Perry got it worse because she was the cringiest, I think. Apparently, she sang "What a Wonderful World" while they were in space. She sang, just burst out into song, but then they told us, they made sure we knew she did, and they're like, yeah, that's very Gal Gadot singing Imagine.
Although,
from
great song.
It is a great song. It's wonderful.
I'm glad that Katy at least had good choice in music.
Yeah. I think she's trying a little too hard with the Mother Earth thing, but that's a different conversation.
Maybe.
Let's go. We got some White Lotus news. Have you watched White Lotus?
I have only seen clips with Walton Goggins.
Everybody seems to be watching this, or at least the media makes me think that everybody's watching it.
Walton Goggins mania is happening, and we're living in it.
I take it he's in the show.
Yes. So a lot of people, including Walton, was a little concerned because this is on HBO or Max, and it can be watched back to back with Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, okay.
And so he's playing two vastly different characters between those two shows.
That's because he's the most underrated actor on the planet.
Evidently.
I'm going to just declare that right now. That's not who I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about Jason Isaacs, first of all. Best known as probably as the
guy from White Lotus.
Well, the bad guy, one of the bad guys the rich bad guy from the Harry Potter series. But I remember him as the snarling villain Redcoat from The Patriot.
Oh.
Starring Mel Gibson. Who played the same character Mel Gibson always plays, which is he's a guy who's a little bit on edge. He might be crazy, and he's going to do violence.
All the violence.
Jason Isaacs is apparently in White Lotus. I have no idea what White Lotus is about, but apparently he wore a Duke t-shirt, as in Duke University, in one of the scenes.
Boo!
Cody does not like Duke.
I really don't.
Because Cody is a University of Kansas basketball fan, and you are contractually obligated to hate Duke.
I am, and also ESPN forced the Duke North Carolina rivalry on me, and I always went with UNC.
There you go. Duke VP of Communications, Marketing, and Public Affairs, Frank Tramble, told the New York Times, White Lotus not only uses our brand without permission, but in our view, uses it on imagery that is troubling, does not reflect our values or who we are, and simply goes too far.
Has this guy ever seen Grayson Allen play?
That's a solid sports slam that many of our listeners will not get unless they are also into sports. But that was right on the money.
Yes.
That was a jab right to the face. Why is Duke commenting on a character on a TV show wearing a t-shirt? Duke's a well-known university, huge basketball program. It stands to reason that many characters on TV might wear Duke paraphernalia.
Oh, yeah. And that people in the real world, there's probably some outstanding, tremendous citizens across these here United States that root for Duke. But there's also some people that you're like, this would not represent us well.
Right. I mean, it's just a weird thing for them to comment on. Well, Jason Isaacs thought so too. He said, I bought the t-shirt because the airline canceled my flight and took my bags away, and I had nothing to change into in the morning. It was the only outlet there at the Charlotte airport, and I also thought it might cause a little bit of mischief. And it did. I wish I had a good British accent. I would read in that, but I found the whole thing faintly amusing. I don't like anyone getting upset about anything, but clearly it was just someone fancying seeing their name online and wanting to go viral. Their real life alumni are such a rogues gallery.
Yeah!
Many of them that the notion that one of the spiritually enlightened characters on television causes them any trouble is fanciful and ridiculous. Oh my goodness.
In the face.
And with that, the Duke VP of Communications, Marketing, and Public Affairs with a too long title got buried, son.
He did.
Okay.
I almost feel bad for burying on Duke. Almost.
Yeah, this was worse news. This White Lotus news was worse. Are you familiar with Amy Lou Wood? She's an actress on the show.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so Saturday Night Live apparently did a sketch. Mm-hmm. The sketch was kind of spoofing the White Lotus, but mostly they were using it as a vehicle to make fun of political figures, which is kind of SNL's bag.
Yes, especially 21st century.
But in this day and age, where we did a whole pod episode about whether comedy could even be done anymore, in this day and age where people get so upset when you make fun of any kind of broad group,
yes,
and any characteristics they might have, because we can't take jokes anymore. Saturday Night Live depicted this actress with ridiculous fake teeth because her teeth are not perfect.
Yes.
It was beyond the pale, in my opinion. Are you serious right now, Saturday Night Live? Making fun of broad groups' characteristics, not okay. Making fun of someone's appearance? And by the way, everyone under the age of 30, you should know, it used to be that not everyone's teeth were blinding white and perfect. Everyone had different teeth when I was growing up, and nobody really paid that much attention to it. Now, because we can spend thousands of dollars, some of us, to have perfect teeth, we're going to make fun of someone? And look.
A very talented thespian.
Yeah. It's not like she's got grotesque teeth.
No.
They're just not seamless and perfect. And
they're not veneers.
They're definitely still blinding white.
Yeah.
What are we doing, Saturday Night Live? What are we doing?
Low-hanging fruit. I would say you're better than this, but...
What happened to Saturday Night Live, man? It felt like they were turning it around. They had some good skits.
Maybe they are good for one or two an episode.
Our society continues to flounder with comedy. We're really struggling with comedy.
Adam Sandler, it's all on you, buddy.
Happy Gilmore 2 has to save us. It's up to you, Sandler. He hasn't had a funny movie in 15 years.
That's rude.
Is it?
Maybe.
Name one.
I would have to go look at his filmography.
All right. We will be right back with the subject of this pod, a Be Kind Rewind on Scott Pilgrim versus the World. We are Pop Culture Pastor, and we're here to make money and sell out and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
This is the beginning of the song.
We are here to do a Be Kind Rewind on Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And I'm just going to spoil the end right now. This movie's stinking great.
I'll give you a little background information.
Give me some background information.
This film debuted at the beginning of my senior year in college. The college that I went to, Kansas Wesleyan, they would have this back to school weekend extravaganza where they would also pay for the students to watch one movie that Saturday night that everyone got back. Scotty Walker, Geek of the Round Table, myself, Kiefer, we all went and watched this movie. Oh, it was so amazing.
So good, man. So good. I did not see this in the theater. I saw it when it came out on, I don't know, DVD back then probably. And I remember liking it, but this time it hit a bit different for me. And so when I first saw it, I probably would have given it a 7, 6.5, 7. I thought it was good, but it didn't knock my socks off. But I don't think I watched it with the right mind. It was August 13th, 2010 when this movie came out.
Yep.
So, I was full into Family Dave. Probably was tired when I saw it. It didn't hit me right, but it did this time. Directed by Edgar Wright.
Oh, Edgar Wright's so amazing.
Yeah. And we're going to get into this, but I think if you revisit this movie and see what it did to some other the action genre, you might have to give him the visionary title, because this movie has an effect on action movies and action scenes in general. Scott Pilgrim, this is based on the Scott Pilgrim graphic novel series by Brian Lee O'Malley. Do you have any of those graphic novels?
No, I've seen them in the wild, and I nearly bought one, but I did not.
Yeah. Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Kieran Culkin, Chris Evans, Anna Kendrick, Brandon Routh, Jason Schwartzman. I mean,
Aubrey Plaza, Brie Larson.
Honestly, this cast is amazing.
Anna Kendrick, Mae Whitman.
Whoever the casting directors were, they're still working. They've got to be.
I hope so.
In 2010, these people were mostly unknowns.
Oh, yeah.
And to get this cast of people that this accomplished now, what a cast. The budget for the movie was $60 million. It only made $48 million worldwide. Didn't perform well at the box office.
I did my part.
I thought you said they sent you for free.
Well, the school paid for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that money went straight for that movie.
So Kansas Wesleyan did your part.
Well, if I hadn't gone, they wouldn't have spent that money. So,
good point.
In conjuncture, Kansas Wesleyan and I did our part.
Cody, is this one of the best underperforming good movies of all time?
In my lifetime, yes. Definitely within my lifetime, especially adult years. This movie, if you watch it, especially back then and you're around my age, oh, you loved it.
Yeah. Essentially, this is a movie about a guy, his friends, the band he's in, and his dating life, which is a mess.
Oh, yeah.
And then he falls for this new girl, and she's like, he's obsessed with her. And he finds out that when he's
with jetpacks.
Yeah. When he starts dating her, he's got to fight her 7 ex-boyfriends.
Nope. Her 7 evil exes.
7 evil exes. My bad. Not all boyfriends.
Yep.
But it's all staged like a video game.
Oh, it's amazing.
They're end bosses, essentially. And it's amazing. It's fantastic. And listen, we could go through the plot simply, but come on, I just told you the plot.
You did.
That's essentially the plot.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd think, isn't that a little too simple? Nope. It's a fantastic movie. And so much deeper than people give it credit for. We'll get to that. Michael Cera, who played Scott Pilgrim, learned to play bass guitar for the movie. Were you aware of that?
I was.
He had no prior experience. He spent several weeks practicing with real musicians to make sure his playing was convincing during the band's performances. The band Sex Bob-omb.
Yep. Bob-omb.
Yeah, which is a Super Mario reference.
Yep.
His practice sessions were so intense that he even got blisters from playing the bass.
Well, that's what real bassists do.
The evil exes actors, all the actors who played one of the 7 evil exes had to go through extensive fight training.
Those fight scenes, chef's kiss.
Yeah, great. Jason Schwartzman, for example, had to train for this like high-flying stunt where he fights Scott in the finale. Chris Evans, Captain America in this movie, he trained with stunt coordinators to perfect his skateboarding stunts, which you'd have to watch the movie. And if you watch it, you know.
Honestly, until Knives Out came out, maybe this is Chris Evans' best work.
Oh, man. He's so good in this. The graphic novel and therefore the film draws a lot of inspiration from old school video games.
Yes.
And we're talking old school video games, not like your Gen Z video games. We're talking Xennial and Millennial.
So
games.
What do you play? That's a big question.
The girl asks it because she thinks he's in the band.
Young Neil.
What do you play? Wow. Zelda and Tetris.
Yes.
I laughed so hard, Cody, at that. It was so good. So old video games inspired this, and director Edgar Wright and his team, they worked closely with graphic artists to incorporate the video game-like elements. So there were health bars and point scores.
One-ups.
Every fight scene is like literally like a video game fight. At the end, it's the boss battle. And it creates this like seamless blend of live action and animation. The visual effects team even used comic book style transitions such as panel cuts, freeze frames to give the film its unique look. The cast chemistry was perfected through rehearsals. Edgar Wright really wanted them to like be close. They had like all these rehearsals for several weeks, which I don't think is normal.
Yeah.
Like they're doing table reads and they're eating dinner together, and that camaraderie really translated to the screen, especially the guys in the band. And then as we said, the fight training took over 8 weeks. So there's maybe some things you didn't know about the movie. If you're familiar with it, maybe you didn't know some of those behind the scenes stuff. Why don't we Muppetize the movie?
I wasn't ready for that.
You weren't ready for Muppetize?
But I am ready.
Nobody's ready for Muppetize. Would you like me to go first, or would you like to go first?
I'll let you go first.
All right. Seems obvious. Your first impulse is to keep Michael Cera. He kind of looks like a Muppet. But I'm going to go a different direction. Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona Flowers carries the narrative of the movie. Ramona Flowers is portrayed as like the ultimate cool girl. She's mysterious. She's unpredictable. She's so captivating in this role.
Yes.
She's a symbol for the unattainable girl of our youth. And Winstead plays her perfectly, Cody. If she's not her, then this whole movie falls apart. So I'm keeping Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona Flowers. Kermit is obviously Scott Pilgrim. The resemblance is kind of striking, actually. The rest of the band are members of Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, with Animal in a wig as the drummer. As one of Scott's exes. And finally, the main bad guy, the big bad at the end, Bunsen as Gideon. I know you see it.
Okay, so I went different.
Good. It makes it the best. Who are you Muppetizing?
So I'll keep Ramona, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah, we thought the same again.
I will, though, for Gideon, I went Gonzo.
Manic, crazy, I like it.
Yes. Then for Steven Stills, I went Fozzie Bear.
Okay, who's Steven Stills?
He's the lead singer, guitarist of the band.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted him to be Fozzie.
Yeah, Fozzie and Kermit got to be boys.
Yeah, and I went with Kermit being, of course, Scott Pilgrim, because Kermit usually has to be the hero.
Michael Cera is so interesting, dude. To see him do these fight scenes, and it's fun and kind of believable in a video game sense.
I almost kept Kieran Culkin, but he wasn't in the movie enough.
Yeah, he's not in it enough. All right, Cody, what holds up?
I'm going with the music to start off.
Yeah, man.
So I'm a huge fan of this movie, and I mean a huge fan of this movie. Nigel Godrich, who is a famous producer, is typically known as the sixth member of Radiohead. He has worked with Radiohead, U2, REM, and Beck.
Yeah.
Beck writes so much of Sex Bomb's music.
Yep.
And
by the way, you can totally hear that.
Yes. The song Ramona, like where it's just Ramona, like, and he just repeats it over and over. There's a full length version of that song that actually has lyrics besides her name. And Beck was finishing up all his other recordings for the album, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to write the feature song for this?" And he's like, "Oh, you want me to?" And so, like 10 minutes, he writes it, he records it, he's out. And the music's phenomenal. Even the songs that they choose, like from T-Rex and the Rolling Stones, it just fits the vibe of the movie. And I like to think Toronto is a lot like this movie.
Dude, I'll be your garbage man.
Yes.
Fantastic. So good. My Threshold. The music being written by Beck, a lot of their music. I don't even know what kind of music this is. What is this genre?
Like garage punk.
Garage punk, yeah.
That's what I would call
this. Would not be the kind of music I listen to normally, but I would listen to this soundtrack. The music's great. Edgar Wright was so into the music that he started working on the soundtrack before they even finished the script.
Yep.
He enlisted Beck to write and perform the songs for the fictional band. And in fact, the music is so central to the film's identity that they had the songs written first. And then the movie's editing was based around the rhythms of the music in the fight scenes.
Yep.
So like the song is driving how the fight scene is being filmed, when they're hitting each other. Like, it's kind of brilliant. It's just sort of genius, Cody.
And the behind the scenes with the music, Beck being like, you really want me to do the music for this? Like, he's super humble. But the producer, Nigel Godrich, he produced Beck's probably 2 best albums. And this is phenomenal. Like, the music just sets the pace and it brings all the energy and vibes along with what Edgar does behind the lens.
Yeah. This is a love letter to video games. This movie is a love letter to video games. Within the first few minutes, there are several sound effects that will be very recognizable to the retro gamer. This movie walked so the Super Mario movie could run.
Yes.
Wright himself, the director, has spoken about how he wanted to create a film that was an ode to gaming culture, especially like the quirky and fun spirit of kind of those early Nintendo, Sega games. The use of sound effects like the coin sound when Scott defeats one of the X's or the level up cues. Those are just so straight out of retro games. And then you fast forward to 2023 in the Super Mario Brothers movie, which kind of similarly embraced the nostalgia of the Mario games. They didn't just adapt it, right?
Yes.
To me, they took cues from this movie. They made sure to blend the story with the nostalgia. And Scott Pilgrim did it first. Like, and watching it, I literally watched it today. And I couldn't believe the similarities I felt between this, the nostalgia of this, and the Super Mario Brothers movie.
So I think it's Universal that puts this movie out.
Yes,
and
it is.
The intro is like an 8-bit graphics and sound.
Fantastic.
And it was that way for when the movie actually was in theaters. It wasn't just something they added to the DVD. Oh my goodness. Like, I geeked out back in 2010 when that happened. I'm like, this is epic.
So many of the little vignette songs they play, like when he sees Ramona for the first time, it is literally a song from Zelda, A Link to the Past, like the first Super Nintendo Zelda game. So good. And they did such a good job of matching those to the scene so that it just felt right. Ugh, all of it's great. What else holds up for you?
This movie might be the most Easter eggy movie of all time, and that holds up really well for me. So I told you in the first segment that this wasn't the first time or the last time we'll hear about Billy from Smashing Pumpkins.
Billy Corgan.
Smashing Pumpkins shirts are being worn by Scott Pilgrim in multiple scenes because it's SP.
Yeah.
Then he's also wearing like Rock Band or Guitar Hero shirts.
Scott Pilgrim might be your spirit animal when it comes to t-shirts. Cody,
Yes.
you don't know this because you only hear Cody's voice, but Cody almost always has some pop culture themed t-shirt he's wearing, and usually something that I've never seen anyone else wear.
That's how I roll.
He's very eclectic in his t-shirt collecting.
This movie has so many little Easter eggs throughout that connect to video games, connect to music, that connect to other things that are happening even around like some of the actors. I loved it.
Yeah, what I loved about watching this today, what I love about this is that it recognizes how long gaming culture has been around. With the dawn of esports and Twitch, it's easy to think that it's a new thing. But this movie really is an ode to that kind of exennial, millennial culture where we grew up with these 16-bit games.
Yep.
And it was great. This movie, we kind of already talked about it. So something that holds up for me is the cast.
Oh, yes.
The movie's absolutely loaded with up-and-coming talent. Watching it today again, it's like an incredible showcase of talent now. If you put this cast in a movie now, it would cost you millions.
Oh, yeah. Probably Michael Cera, outside Jason Schwartzman, maybe, is the big name.
Yeah, this is peak Michael Cera.
Yes, like Arrested Development is getting like a huge cult of Netflix watchers because it had been canceled unjustly, and everyone's like, oh, have you ever heard of Arrested Development? Let me share this good news with you, brother.
Cera, he like perfectly encapsulates the awkward, bumbling, yet super lovable character.
I feel like Michael Cera and I probably were the same dude at this time.
I can see it.
That I related too much to Scott Pilgrim and a lot of Michael Cera's characters.
Yeah, he's so he's like simultaneously charming. Like you can understand why girls would like him, even though Michael Cera is kind of an awkward looking dude. But then he's also really immature. He's super immature, and it resonates with people. Like, because we were all, I think, especially dudes, we were all that way at some point. And his portrayal of Scott Pilgrim, it's almost like the culmination of all his roles, maybe led up to it. Kind of blends the awkwardness from like Arrested Development, Juno, and then he gets like this action kind of coming of age stuff too. And his comedic timing, the way he conveys emotional immaturity, but also this vulnerability with this like charm. I don't know, man. This has to be like his best role, right?
It's up there because there's been a couple of newer movies that people would probably be like, he has range.
Yeah. What else about the cast? Do you have anyone else you want to single out in the cast?
Chris Evans as a jerk. Oh, I love it.
Lucas Lee is basically how I imagine Chris Evans to be ever since this movie. But I think he's actually nice.
He probably is. In this movie, he carries this out so smug, so confident, so arrogant. I really wanted him to go full that in his Fantastic Four run. And it's probably for the best because we got a really great Captain America. So
yeah. It would have been a great Johnny Storm to make him, kind of like the one in the comics. A little too cocky.
Yep.
A little too that. I hope you didn't like that one because you're not getting that one in the new Fantastic Four.
You are not.
At least what I've heard. What about Kieran Culkin?
So watching this in theaters, oh, that's Macaulay's brother. And then by the end of it, I'm like, I'm not sure Macaulay's the best actor in this family anymore.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
And now, like, Kieran's won some Oscars and life's going good for Kieran.
Yeah, he was a man among boys in this movie. When on my rewatch, it's just he owns every scene he's in. And ever since this movie, his trajectory, obviously nothing short of stellar. He went on to star in Succession, for which he won an Emmy for Best Supporting Actor. And then he got the Oscar this year for Best Supporting Actor in A Real Pain. Yeah, just amazing.
So someone that's not on screen, but has a vital role to the movie, Bill Hader.
Really?
He is the voice. So anytime that there's narration, like Scott Pilgrim earned the power of self-respect.
Really?
That's Bill Hader.
I wasn't paying attention.
And he delivers every line so perfectly. And then you have so many superhero actors in this movie. You have one of the Punishers, Thomas Paine, as a vegan police.
A lot of cameos.
Brandon Routh, former Superman, as a vegan who is now gone.
Chicken's not vegan?
That was great. Brie Larson, Captain Marvel herself. It is just impressive. Even Aubrey Plaza now is in the Marvel sphere because of Agatha all along. And so this cast and crew just delivers. And love it. Love it. Love it. Even the people that aren't big names, like the guy that played Matthew Patel. Yeah. Hilarious.
Fantastic.
And when his demon hipster chicks kill Crash and the boys.
Crash and the boys. I'm Crash. These are the boys. It's like how we do the podcast.
Yes.
I'm Dave. Cody's here.
Oh, but when that happens, I laugh every time. And it's like a split second. You see like their skeletons in like x-ray view and then ash.
The action scenes, the fights, they're so good, Cody. Not only are they like nostalgic, sweet coins.
Yes.
You can tell that Edgar Wright is deeply influenced by video games. The action sequences, they're not just fun to watch as action sequences. They also kind of communicate important steps in Scott's like emotional and personal growth in a very video game sort of way, right? So they got the coins, the sound effect is a very playful nod to video game achievements, but also he levels up, right?
He does.
Like he matures and he levels up as he's doing it, and it's all played great. Do you have anything else that holds up?
So we talked about the choreography, we talked about the music. Honestly, the story just throughout, because you do get character growth and get some side characters fleshed out, and then random things that are thrown in. Like every time Aubrey Plaza is about to cuss, they do the weird little square graphic and then make the video game censoring sound.
Yeah, that was pretty entertaining. I have a few quick hitters. Great pickup lines. Hey, you know about Pac-Man? Scott sitting and staring at his front door, waiting for his Amazon package is all of us, frankly.
Yes.
That was hilarious.
What's the address for Amazon.ca?
And also, we didn't mention her in the cast, but we should. Anna Kendrick as Scott's sister.
Oh, she's great.
She's like the proxy in the story for all the normies watching this and not getting it. Like, she doesn't get the video games. She doesn't understand. And she has this look that's perfect. Like, what is happening right now?
Did you love her? Like with jetpacks. And then she picks up the phone and is like, oh my goodness, what a loser. His roommate texting her quickly to tell her something that he wanted to be a secret. Yes.
Is hilarious. That's a running gimmick in the movie as well. It's just great stuff.
How are you doing this?
Do you have anything that doesn't hold up in the movie? I had to really dig for this one, but I found one thing.
So there are some lines that I could see probably offending, even though I think that you can definitely tell the intentions not to offend, and that there may be some comeuppance to when somewhat offensive things might be said, but you also have to remember it's 2010.
Yeah. I was taken aback a couple times. The thing that I put for not holding up for me was Scott running from conflict and not breaking up with Knives really hurts Knives, who is in the movie a high schooler. He's 22.
She's 17, but she's about to turn 18. There's a birthday party,
and they hardly, they don't have. It's a almost platonic relationship.
Oh yeah, they go to the Goodwill.
But she thinks it's romantic.
Yes.
And Scott is struggling with it the whole time and just doesn't have the courage to break up with her.
We almost held hands once.
Cody, it's time for which character would you be? Which character would you be in this movie?
I hate going with the main character, but I really am that awkward and dorky. And
you're Scott Pilgrim,
and I dated up and married up, so I am Scott Pilgrim in this.
I can back this up. I can bet he definitely married up.
Yes,
and he is kind of awkward.
Oh yeah,
I say that in a loving way.
I honestly would throw on the hat every time that someone would talk about my hair.
I sound like I got it all together. I just look awkward. You just can't see it. What character I would be is, I want to be one of the main characters. Even one of the 7 X's. I wish I could be one of them, but I'm not. I'm clearly, as a younger person, I was young Neil.
Yeah.
I was definitely young Neil. I'm the guy who's quietly sitting there, not getting the glory. Then it gets my turn because I'm practiced. I'm good enough to be in the band, but I'm not saying anything. I'm just playing Zelda and Tetris. I'm definitely not turning away the girl who's throwing herself at me just to make her ex jealous. Like, that's totally me. That was totally me. So I'm young Neil. Time for the Pastor's Corner. Deeper themes, Cody. Would you like to just kind of react to what I have here? Do you have something yourself?
I will react, and I might have something to add.
I thought this movie was fantastic as I watched it today, and there was a really deep theme running through it, but I gotta kind of explain it. So the video game trope of what's going on here, rescue the princess. That incidentally doesn't need rescuing.
Yes.
In many classic video games, the hero's quest is often centered around rescuing a princess or female character, positioning her as this like helpless damsel in distress. And Scott Pilgrim kind of flips this trope on its head with Ramona. She's not the typical princess in need of saving. Instead, she's complex. She's independent. She has her own past. She has her own battles and emotional landscape going on.
And she has a hammer.
She does. It mirrors a larger truth about the way we view relationships and personal growth. I know I fell into this trap as a young man who grew up on pop culture and seeing the tropes. I thought I was going to be a girl's knight in shining armor just because I was a dude, and that they would just feel blessed to have me. And in truth, the only person I needed to rescue was me. Mm-hmm. It took me a long time to figure out it's our own growth that allows us to engage in healthier, more authentic relationships. Where I thought I was just because I was a dude, I was going to rescue a girl and she would just love me for that because I was an idiot.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Yeah, so, I have some more. I have a totally different one, but I'll let you go if you have any thoughts about that.
That was one that I definitely related to. In my young adult years, there definitely is a version of me that is more shy and full of self-pity. It took meeting my wife to realize, like, oh, if I am going to get the girl and quote-unquote save her, I actually got to, like, work on myself, and I got to fight for this relationship for me, not just like, oh, I'm the hero. No, I'm the one needing rescued.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's good stuff. It's funny that we both identify with that.
Yes.
And I think dudes that grew up on pop culture maybe would, because when you learn social cues from pop culture, you get all the weird tropes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to start studying history to find out that cowboys and Indians wasn't good guys and bad guys.
Shockingly.
Like, there are just tropes when you grow up on pop culture. And one of them is when you're a guy, there is this very interesting and now almost cringy kind of trope where you think you're going to rescue a girl and marry her.
So that was one of the issues with Snow White, the new Snow White.
Yes.
Rachel Ziegler didn't like that trope that was in the original, and definitely voiced that this is going to be new and approved and life's going to be great, and box office numbers didn't reflect it. But like you said, the culture has shifted, and I think we're to a place where we realize we're all a little bit broken and no one is perfect and will fulfill that full hero role that we need in our lives.
Now, I will offer a caveat because you brought up Rachel Ziegler.
I did.
I don't think there's anything wrong with a little bit of romanticism.
Oh, yeah.
Which by nature is conservative and usually resembles times of yore. Mm-hmm. And for a long time in humanity, in most places, women did not have autonomy. And so it very much was, if a guy loved a woman, he would rescue her out of the terrible system and take her into his home. And that may sound stupid old-fashioned to you, and it is. But I think there's something sweet in that too. It's not all, like, we can all acknowledge the system was bad.
Yes.
But we can also acknowledge that there is something sweet about that. As well. It's not all bad. I think Rachel Ziegler just wants you to know it's all bad. And I just fundamentally disagree. At the time, if you were one of the girls who were being picked by a gentleman 2,000 years ago. You didn't think it was bad. I get it. I understand. I think, moreover, the theme that runs through all of this, and we kind of touched on it, was Scott Pilgrim's growth. And as I was watching it this time, I'm struck by how everything is a metaphor. For him, this is essentially a movie about maturation.
Yep.
I'll start when Scott's ex shows up, Envy, played by Brie Larson.
Nat.
Yeah, she's nasty. She's terrible to him, right? She immediately plays on his insecurities.
Yes.
She doesn't have a huge part in the movie, but it does highlight this kind of important truth. She serves as a reminder of how toxic people can feed off our insecurities and use them against you to make themselves feel superior.
Your hair's kind of shaggy.
That's a running theme, running joke in the whole movie. And the first time I watched it, I don't think I got it at all.
Oh, I got it. I understood it. And I wore all the hats.
But it's so clear. It was so clear to me watching it that the people we surround ourselves with should build us up, not tear us down. There's a proverb in the Bible that said, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And that reflects the power of being around people who inspire you to be better, rather than those who are using your vulnerabilities against you.
And by the end of the Brie Larson scenes, he actually is kind of encouraging to her.
Yeah.
Calls her Nat.
Yeah.
She hasn't been called Nat forever.
And it all comes together when you realize that this was what the movie's actually about. Him maturing, not just himself maturing, but also understanding that you're going after girls that weren't mature yet either. And they were putting you in a place, right? So the final boss, Gideon, played by Jason Schwartzman, is a manifestation of Scott's insecurity. What does he say to him? He says, "You're not cool enough."
Right.
He symbolizes like the ultimate voice of insecurity in Scott's head, the inner critic that we kind of all have when we're feeling unworthy or we're feeling less than. And Scott's final battle isn't just like this physical confrontation. It's a confrontation with his own feelings of inadequacy. So it makes all the sense in the world that he doesn't just defeat Gideon and that's the end. No. He has to make peace with Nega Scott.
Yes.
The damage part of him that is cruel to himself.
And also, since at this point he is an ex of Ramona's, it is now an evil ex, but he doesn't have to kill that one. He can go have pancakes with it.
Cody, is this entire movie a cleverly told parable on the power of self-talk?
I could argue it.
Yeah, I think so. It's really, really good, man. I enjoyed this so much.
He felt like the whole world was against him, including himself. And once he learned to make peace with himself, he wasn't so much against the world.
Yeah. All right. Who is the Captain Kirk winner of the movie? And yes, I'm still going with those names.
Oh, this is tough. I think I go Ramona.
Yeah. Because you can't say Michael Cera. This is kind of the end of Michael Cera.
It is a chapters in because he has some things. It's just like you have to be like in the indie scene.
Yeah, but he was so huge. Like he was in Superbad. I don't know when Superbad comes out. Let's just take a look at Michael Cera's
IMDb.
Yeah, let's take a look at this real quick.
Superbad 2007, Juno 2007, Arrested Development from 2003 to 2019. But wow. Scott Pilgrim versus the World 2010. This is the End. I forgot he was in that. Year One was bad. Barbie was phenomenal.
Stunning Jack Black slander.
Oh, I'm an honesty broker.
Snap.
Yeah. I forgot he was in Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
Do you think it's because this movie doesn't make money? It fails at the box office. I don't think it's his fault. I don't think it's... in fact, I'm going to get back to this later. I'm going to tell you whose fault it is. But go on. You say Mary Elizabeth Winstead is the winner of the movie.
Yes. Not so much because she launches into the stratosphere. Because, like, I don't remember anything from her until 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah. She was just in Ahsoka.
Yep. And was in Birds of Prey. She had already done some things that were bigger, but she wasn't necessarily the star. But she does such a phenomenal job, because if you don't have a good Ramona, I don't think you have a movie. And now she is Mrs. Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Or Ewan McGregor is now Mr. Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
There you go.
And he wears I Heart Ramona Flowers shirts out in public.
That's amazing.
And I would too.
I do wonder how much of her post-movie career is affected by this role. She so embodies this role that
Yes.
it's hard to think of her as anything else. I think her performance is perfect. This is a perfect performance. As I said earlier, I think she embodies the movie. She holds the movie together, even though it's essentially about Scott Pilgrim and his maturing. She's the anchor because she's so good in this role. I think the winner of the movie is cinema.
Yeah.
If I might go Marty on you, I think the winner of the movie is cinema. Despite not being a box office hit, I think Scott Pilgrim versus the World has since influenced filmmakers and creatives, especially in action settings. It was praised for its unique visual style, blended comic book art, video game aesthetics, surreal humor, and a lot of action movies kind of have some of these sensibilities now. Like, for instance, I thought about the elements in this movie that you see a lot in action movies. And for instance, you cannot watch David Leitch's Bullet Train and not think of this movie. Like, if you've seen Bullet Train, and there are a lot of action movies that are kind of like that now, where they kind of mix in this kind of cartoonish action along with the action. I think it's a direct result of this movie. I think this movie has an impact on the entire genre. Who is your Wile E. Coyote loser of the movie?
She did a good job in this movie, but she completely disappears from my radar forever. Ellen Wong, known as Knives Chow.
As I was watching this, I kind of wondered what happened to her. Everyone else in this movie,
I know where they're at.
yeah.
All except for Matthew Patel. But he was there for like a song and then was done. So I had to go with one of the main actors or actresses. She was in the Carrie Diaries for a little bit and might have been in the show Glow. Those are the two big things.
Yeah. Not a lot on here.
And
interesting stuff.
Her geeking out was done so phenomenally. And I love that Steven is like, does she geek out?
Will she geek out over us?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my goodness. They nailed casting for Knives, and I'm just heartbroken that she's not a bigger thing.
My loser of the movie is the marketing team for this movie. It's on them. I think that this movie fails at the box office, because I don't know if you remember the marketing campaign, the trailers and all that, but they tried to sell this movie because it had Michael Cera in it.
Yes.
Who was an indie kind of darling. They tried to sell this movie as a quirky indie romance. Do you remember that?
So do you want to know the reason I watched this movie?
Oh, please tell me.
I knew that Michael Cera was going to be in it, and I really like Michael Cera. And then I also knew that the director from Hot Fuzz, Edgar Wright, was going to direct it.
Because Hot Fuzz was great.
It was. And I knew Beck was on the soundtrack. That was quite literally the three reasons I didn't watch the trailer. I said, oh, this seems like my dream come true on the big screen. And then it really was. And maybe they should have just marketed it like that.
But that's, again, I think that's a problem with the marketing, because people that did find this movie and enjoy it immediately just kind of all fell into it.
Yep.
It was a weird I fell into it thing, and I don't know what they were doing. I don't know how they couldn't have aimed this at anime fans, video game fans, somehow make this appealing to casual moviegoers in a way that wasn't lying. Because this movie's not about romance. This isn't like an indie romance, even though it's a part of it.
It seems to be the motivation, but then it wasn't, and then it kind of was. Yeah.
Critics and audiences loved it. But it didn't break out because it wasn't marketed effectively. Cody?
I bought the DVD. I did my part.
How many 1-ups out of 10 are you giving this movie?
A 9.5.
Cody's going big.
Yes.
Going real big.
Again. This is one of my favorite coming of age movies.
It's a great film, man. This has been one of my favorite Be Kind Rewinds as far as a movie that I liked the first time around. This was only the second time I watched it.
Oh, I have watched it like 100 times.
I watched it the first time. I liked it, and I didn't think much of it since. I rewatched it today, and I'm here to tell you this is a great movie. It's easy. It's an easy watch. Like, just for fun, you can sit down and have fun. I laughed out loud a lot, but then also this story is deep. It's deeper than it appears.
It is, and so many quotable lines in this movie. And as I'm watching it, I watched it right before coming in to record, and Leah came in the living room, and I'm just quoting it while watching it, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. For me, it's an 8.5 easy. And I think it should have been more popular, and I don't know why it wasn't.
It was ahead of its time.
Yeah. So good. If you haven't seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World, first of all, what are you doing? Why'd you listen to this whole podcast if you haven't seen it? I mean, I know we're awesome, but come on, you got to go watch this movie.
Please.
If you have, what do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let us know in the comments on the social media post for this episode, or I think you can comment directly on the episode on Spotify now.
Yes.
I think that's a thing. So we will respond, or on YouTube. Comment wherever you can. We'll see it. And don't forget to subscribe to the pod wherever you're at. Leave us reviews. That's really helpful. We haven't had a review in a while, even though I know we have new listeners.
You guys are awesome.
But I haven't asked for it in a while. So here's me sincerely asking, if you like this pod, please leave us a review on wherever you listen. It helps us out, helps us get discovered. And we will see you next time.
Pop culture pastor. Pop culture pastor.